Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be a deep dive into what I think the truth behind the 27 Club is. The 27 Club is one of the most famous conspiracy theories of all time, and honestly there are a lot of theories as to exactly what this means and why there are so many celebrities that die at the age of 27 and what could be the truth behind it. Some people think that the Illuminati is involved. There are a lot of unanswered questions about the 27 Club, but I have a couple theories that I think are true, so without further ado, let's get into it. So the 27 Club is basically a group of different celebrities who died at the age of 27. Most of these celebrities in which are musical artists. I don't know if that's a coincidence or part of the theory. There's a lot of debate about that. The reason that there is a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding the 27 Club is actually because the earliest known member of the 27 Club was a man named Robert Johnson, who was a blues musician that died in 1938. Now, legend has it that he sold his soul to the devil to become famous, and therefore his sacrifice would be that he died at the age of 27. I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of the basis of the theory and where the entire idea of it being some sacrificial thing comes from, which we're going to talk about different theories as to why this happens and what is this club all about. But that is the origin of the 27 Club. I would say that this concept, though, didn't really become popular until the 60s and 70s with the deaths of Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison. This was when people really started noticing a pattern here of people dying at the age of 27. I think the one death that really solidified this club to be a thing was definitely Kurt Cobain's death in 1994. This definitely reignited the public's fascination with the concept of the 27 Club and really just opened the door for a lot of questions as to why this was happening. Why are these artists, typically musicians, dying at the age of 27 under what seems like mysterious circumstances? Then in 2011, Amy Winehouse joined the 27 Club, and Amy has become another infamous member of the club of different celebrities that died at the age of 27. Again, under mysterious circumstances. We're going to talk about some of the deaths and how they have similar patterns as well. So Robert Johnson, who was the blues singer that died in 1938, he was a pioneering blues musician whose record laid the groundwork for modern rock and roll. His life is honestly pretty poorly documented, which obviously adds to the mystery of it all. But essentially there was a lot of folklore surrounding the fact that he gained his unparalleled guitar skills by selling his soul to the devil. And that is overall where the concept of the 27 Club began. Then, years later, Brian Jones died in 1969. Brian Jones is a member of the Rolling Stones, and by the late 1960s, he was very much struggling. He had been isolated from his bandmates. He was battling addiction, and ultimately, he succumbed to it by drowning mysteriously in his swimming pool, and his death was ruled as death by misadventure, but a lot of people suspect that there could have been foul play involved. Jimi Hendrix was another musician who vastly struggled with different substance abuse, and he died in 1970 from taking barbiturates in London. He basically choked on his own vomit, and I just think that is such a horrible and sad way to go. And this is when the idea of the 27 Club began intensifying. And then shortly after, Janis Joplin, who was also a popular musician in the 1960s, also died. She died of a heroin overdose in her hotel room in Los Angeles just 16 days after Jimi Hendrix's death, and this was when people really started to connect the dots of the 27 Club. In 1971, the singer of The Doors, Jim Morrison, was found dead in a hotel bathtub in Paris, and his official cause of death was heart failure, but no autopsy was performed. And conspiracy theories suggest that maybe he had a heroin overdose or some type of foul play was involved. But either way, he was battling alcoholism and drug addiction. Flash forward years later, in 1994, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana obviously passed away by suicide, although there are a lot of conspiracy theories that suggest that people maybe killed him, including his ex-wife, Courtney Love. A lot of people believe that. to be true, but that's not what this video is about today. But nonetheless, Kurt Cobain was very much struggling with heroin addiction, and he was just not doing well under the pressures of fame at this time, and he ultimately took his own life. At least that's how it was ruled. And again, if you want me to do a Kurt Cobain conspiracy video, we could do that, because I think there are a lot of theories surrounding his death particularly. But again, that's not what this video is about. And then in 2011, Amy Winehouse tragically died from alcohol poisoning. She publicly struggled. I'm sure a lot of you remember in the media, Amy Winehouse was constantly scrutinized, not only for having a drug addiction and having struggle with alcoholism, but she was also just scrutinized for literally everything, honestly. It was disturbing to look back on the way that the media treated her. Given everything that ended up happening, it is very, very sad. But she ultimately became another member of the 27 Club on July 23rd of 2011, which she actually did say that she was always scared that she was going to be a part of the 27 Club. Now, the first theory that I want to talk about is about the Illuminati. This is what I think consensus most people believe is true in regards to the 27 Club. Probably besides coincidence, I'm sure there are people who just assume it is sheer coincidence that there are so many celebrities that died at this specific age, but I would say it is too weird, in my opinion, to be a coincidence. But I also don't really know if I think it's the Illuminati. But when it comes to the 27 Club, a lot of people blame the Illuminati. Basically, the general conspiracy theory that came from the first member of the 27 Club dying, Robert Johnson. I guess this is where the stories allege that basically, if you wanted to be famous, you could sell your soul to the devil, but you would have to die at the age of 27. And that's the deal that they would make with the devil or the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. And basically that would cement their legacies forever. So people believe that essentially the 27 Club deaths are actually a ritualistic sacrifice by the Illuminati. I don't know that I think that this is true, and I will say a lot of these deaths are not that suspicious. Like, they are similar circumstances, like drug overdoses and whatnot. But I would say, like, the only real death here that I think is quite suspicious is the death of Kurt Cobain. There's just kind of a lot that went into that. But that is a general idea that people believe, is that the 27 Club is sacrificed by the Illuminati. There was also a very, very popular theory called the White Lighter theory, which basically claimed that all of the 27 Club members died with white lighters in their possession, like the little Bic white lighters. But this has been debunked somewhat, because white lighters weren't manufactured until 1973, which rules out Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison being a part of this theory. And so the only people who could actually corroborate the white lighter theory is Amy Winehouse and Kurt Cobain, but we have no proof that either are true. I don't know. I will say I still won't use a white lighter, but I don't think that this part of the theory is true necessarily. So like I said, a lot of people do think that the Illuminati or the devil, whatever you want to call it, or both, is involved with the concept of the 27 Club and is the driving force that made this entire conspiracy theory. But something that I have always thought makes so much more sense is to look at astrology. I know a lot of people think astrology is stupid. I personally like it. I think it's fun. But the 27 Club essentially proves that astrology is real. I don't know what else to say. So how 27 Club ties into astrology is through Saturn return. So a Saturn return occurs in someone's birth chart every around 26 to 30 years. There's kind of a bit of leeway there for the exact timing. But it's essentially when Saturn completes its orbit and returns to the place where it was when you were born, which Saturn is the planet of hardships. So this can be a very difficult time if you're already struggling. So with that, it kind of points at the theory that perhaps since these artists were already struggling with addiction and depression and all these other mental illnesses, it could be that the Saturn return really just exacerbated those issues and ultimately led to a lot of overdoses or suicides. And I just think that this makes so much sense, and it also kind of ties in other people who have died around the age of 27, but not at 27 exactly. Like Mac Miller, for example, was 26 years old when he died. He was almost 27, and he was probably feeling the effects of his Saturn returns, so he was struggling more with his addiction, and that ultimately led to his death. Obviously, the drugs that he did was laced with fentanyl, but it still adds up to the theory that the more the person is struggling, the harder the Saturn return is going to hit them. And I just think that this has been basically proven again and again, and I just think it's so insane how more people don't talk about numerology and astrology in regards to the 27 Club. I know it's fun to just go Illuminati, but I think it's kind of more fun to believe in astrology low-key, because again, there are so many different coincidences within this 27 Club that just tick all of the marks of someone who is going through a Saturn return, and they all were going through their Saturn return. Whether you believe in astrology or not, that's just astronomy. Like, factually, Saturn was where it was when they were born. And according to astrology, that is a very difficult time for people who are already struggling. So therefore, that explains the reason why there are so many different artists who die at the age of 27. Now, what I will say is that I think both can be true at once. I do think that some people, like maybe the first member of the 27 Club, really did sell his soul to the devil. Maybe there is truth to that. And maybe some of the other members did as well. And that could be a very real thing. But perhaps some of the people who died in this 27 Club could have been due to struggling with their Saturn return. I want to hear what you guys think about this. I go back and forth. Like, I do believe in Saturn return because I do like astrology. I believe in it when I feel like it's good. When my horoscope says nice things, I'm like, yeah, I believe in astrology. When not, I get a little nervous. I mean, I still believe in it, but ultimately, I think that the Saturn return theory has always made the most sense in regards to the 27 Club. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts because the Illuminati aspect of it does intrigue me as well. But in cases of like Amy Winehouse, where it was so obvious that she was struggling and so obvious that she essentially was going to die if no one helped her, and no one did help her, and the media just scrutinized her, and again, that just exacerbated the problem. So with a situation like that, I don't really consider her death to be suspicious. Obviously tragic, but not under suspicious circumstances. So was it really because she sold her soul to the devil to get famous? Or was it just because she was going through her Saturn return and she was already struggling with the pressures of fame? To me, the latter makes more sense, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it because I don't know for sure. There are a lot of conspiracies about how all of these deaths have, theories of Illuminati rituals. I know in particular with Amy Winehouse, people, according to the neighbors, they heard a lot of like loud yelling and it sounded like ritualistic things when the night that she died. But again, that's all hearsay. There's no like actual report of the neighbors actually saying that. But I will say, anytime I think the Illuminati is involved with a ritualistic kind of sacrifice, it does freak me out. And it's like, not that I necessarily don't believe it, I just kind of want to choose not to, Other conspiracy theories point at the idea that it's actually not so much a ritual sacrifice, but a sacrifice due to punishing these people for defiance. So I guess essentially the idea is that these artists are acting out against the Illuminati and trying to expose secrets. Kurt Cobain, for example, he openly criticized fame and the music industry as a whole. And I have always said that I truly believe that the Illuminati, like a lot of people will say all celebrities like Kim Kardashian, whoever, I think that the music industry is where it's at. I think that is the darkest form of any Illuminati media. I don't know. That's just like my opinion. That's always been my opinion. Not to say that I don't think actors and other celebrities couldn't be a part of the Illuminati. But when you get down to record labels and music producers, we see them do shady shit all the time in the public eye. The P. Diddy stuff, I just feel like that is so important to note. So could the result of a lot of these 27 Club members dying actually just be because they are being punished for speaking out against the media or kind of veering off the path that they are supposed to be? I don't know. I also think that the 27 Club is a very big example of the price of fame. I truly think, at least with Amy Winehouse, I would say Jim Morrison as well, and Kurt Cobain, I think a lot of these celebrities had very immense success at super young ages that just absolutely ruined them. They were not prepared for that type of life. And under any circumstances, like honestly, especially with Amy Winehouse, she's my favorite artist on here and the only artist on here that lived while I did. I've always loved Amy Winehouse, and I remember really researching her and her death, and I do think that she just could not handle the fame. Under any circumstances, I don't think that she was ever supposed to be famous, which is just a very, very sad way to look at it. And I honestly think a lot of these 27 Club members, again, are just suffering the price of fame, and it's just heartbreaking that they weren't able to cope with it. I mean, it's not a normal thing to cope with, so I understand why, but it is just horribly sad. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think that the 27 Club is just a coincidence? Do you think that it is involved with the Illuminati, or do you think that it's astrology based, or a combination of all of them? I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. And if you have any other theories in regards to the 27 Club and what it could all mean, please let us know in the comments below. But that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Like I said, let us know in the comments below what you think of the 27 Club and what you think could be the truth behind it. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and subscribe for new videos every week. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.